But before all that, Angelica Bell is hearing voices from beyond the grave.
Or is she?
By the mid-1800s, the explosion of scientific research in many areas began to present serious challenges to age-old certainties. At the same time, there was a growing interest in proving the existence of life after death. Spiritualism, the belief that we can contact the dead, developed a popular following in the United States. In the mid-19th century, spiritualism was introduced to Victorian Britons from America. The right at the centre of Victorian spiritualism was the séance, which seemed to offer practical evidence of contact with the afterlife in an almost scientific way. It attracted a wide range of Victorian intellectuals, public figures and scientists.
In those days, this was a predominantly Christian society and everyone accepted life after death as a reality. So when Darwin came along and published in 1859 The Origin of the Species, then this really caused huge disruption. Suddenly there was another explanation for how we got here, and it didn't rely on us being God's special creation. Many of the great thinkers of the day were taken in by the spiritualist movement. I mean, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and many famous scientists.
As séances became more popular, their Victorian audiences grew, and so did the potential for unscrupulous behaviour. This gave way to the emergence of mediums who seized on the craze to communicate with the dead and put poor bystanders out of pocket. Richard, what was it about the séance that worked so well for Victorian mediums?
I just think they stumbled on a great formula for playing tricks with people's minds. So you're in complete darkness. There's obviously the fear associated with contacting the dead. So it's a wonderful setting for essentially being fooled.
But what was a Victorian séance really like? And would we still be susceptible to their tricks today? Professor Wiseman is going to recreate a sham Victorian séance. Using psychological techniques and basic tricks, he will try and fool our volunteers into believing they are witnessing a paranormal event. He begins by passing around objects which he says he's going to use to channel the spirits. He lowers the lights and changes his voice.
If you're there, we want you to make your presence known, to drift back through time and join us.
It's absolutely terrifying in the dark. I can't see a thing and I've no idea what's going to happen next. Suddenly, strange things start happening.
Lift the ball high into the air. Excellent! Excellent, Marie!
A ball appears to shoot up off the table and float around the room.
Run the ball high into the air! There are skeptics here. Show them the ball.
But hang on a minute. Who's that in the corner?
When you've had enough, when you want to leave us, drop the ball. Drop the ball.
A well-documented technique in fake séances was to hide an assistant in the room who can't be seen in the dark. Richard's assistant has used a rod to secretly push the objects around before hiding back behind the curtain, leaving us to work out what's just happened.
Very good.
Did anyone believe there was actually a spirit in there? Yeah. You did?
I honestly did. It was very scary.
If you go in kind of believing that these things are real, then I think the effects would be very, very convincing.
I do believe in spirits and afterlife, but I did also look for string in the ball when it hit me on the shoulder to see if there was any there, just for my own satisfaction, but I couldn't find any.
There is no scientific evidence to suggest that it's possible to contact the dead through a medium, but some Victorians were drawn into believing that séances were real. Just like those Victorians, our modern-day volunteers were equally susceptible to a display of clever tricks in the dark. So, before we judge the Victorians for their belief in and enthusiasm for spiritualism, we should put ourselves in their shoes and wonder, are we any better today at telling truth from fantasy?
But you know what is really, really strange? Halfway through that film, that light started flashing with no help from anyone. That's incredible.
Oh,
Dave!
For goodness sakes.
Come on!
Dave!
Must join in with the spirit of the programme.
Goodness